I saved her life in Germany in 19. She was 16, cold, starving, terrified. I thought I was saving a girl.
3 days later, 5 men from my unit were dead, and the girl I saved had disappeared. My name was Michael. I was 18 years old. The war was almost over when I met her. Spring 1945. Germany was already collapsing, cities broken, roads filled with soldiers and civilians. I was 18. Most of us were barely men. That afternoon, our unit was moving through the edge of a small town. A road, some trees, ruined houses. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Then I heard something, not gunfire, crying, soft, almost hidden by the wind. I stepped off the road and walked into the trees, and that's when I saw her. She was sitting near a broken fence, thin coat, dirty face, shaking hands. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. When she saw my uniform, she froze. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then she slowly raised her hands, not like a soldier, like a frightened child. She said her name was Anna, 16 years old. Her house had been destroyed, her parents gone. She had been hiding in the woods. At least, that's what she told me. I should have reported her immediately. That was the rule. But rules feel different when you're 18. She didn't look dangerous. She looked lost. So I gave her some bread from my pack, and I told her she could stay near the road until the fighting moved on. She thanked me. She even smiled. 3 days later, 5 men from my unit were dead. Was gone. The street looked like a different place. The building where our men had been sleeping was half gone. Windows blown out, walls cracked open, dust everywhere. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the shouting started. Medics, officers, men calling each other's names. I remember the smell first, burned wood, smoke, and something else I try not to think about. I started helping move the wounded. One of the men was still alive under a piece of broken wall. His name was Carter. He kept asking what had happened. None of us had an answer. We pulled him out and carried him into the street. His leg was badly hurt, but he was alive. Not everyone was. 5 men from our unit were dead. 5 men I had eaten dinner with the night before. 5 men who had trusted me to watch their backs. I remember looking at their boots sticking out from the rubble. That's the moment something inside me turned cold, because a thought kept returning to my head. Anna, the girl in the woods, the one I gave bread to, the one I let go. At first, I tried to push the idea away. It didn't make sense. She was just a girl, 16 years old, hungry, scared, alone. But something wasn't right, because when the explosion happened, she was gone. No one in the town had seen her that morning. No one knew where she went. One of the officers said enemy fighters must have slipped through during the night. Someone had told them where we were sleeping. I didn't say anything. I stood there in the smoke, watching the men carry the bodies away, and I kept seeing the same thing in my mind. A girl sitting in the woods, taking bread from my hand, smiling and walking away into the trees. That was the moment I understood something I didn't want to believe. The girl I saved might have been watching us the whole time.
The war ended a few weeks later. Germany surrendered. Men celebrated in the streets. Soldiers talked about going home. Some of them even laughed. But I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. The girl in the woods, Anna. I never saw her again after the explosion. At least, not during the war. Years passed. I returned to America, tried to build a life like everyone else, but the war doesn't leave you that easily. In 1947, I was sent back to Germany, occupation duty. The cities were different by then. Less smoke, more people, markets opening again, life slowly trying to return. One afternoon, I was walking through a crowded street market, people everywhere, farmers selling vegetables, children running between the stalls. And then I saw her. At first, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me, but it was her, Anna. She looked older now, stronger, her hair shorter, her clothes cleaner, but it was the same face, the same eyes. For a moment, we just stared at each other, like the war had never ended. She walked toward me slowly, and before I could say anything, she took my arm. "Not here," she said. She pulled me into a narrow alley between two buildings. It was quiet there, just the sound of people in the market behind us. And then she told me the truth. During the last months of the war, she had been working with an underground group. Her job was simple: watch soldiers, learn where they slept, tell the others. The night of the explosion, she had told them about our position. She said she never expected it to be that bad. She said she thought they would just scare us. I should have arrested her right there. I knew that. Every rule said I had to. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the memory of the girl in the woods. Maybe it was the way she looked at me. Or maybe I was just weak. Because instead of calling the military police, I let her walk away. The decision followed me for the rest of my life.
After that day, I saw Anna several more times, always in quiet places, empty streets, small cafes, dark corners where no one asked questions. Each time she promised something, that she was finished with the underground groups, that the war was over for her, that she just wanted to live a normal life. I wanted to believe her. Maybe I needed to, because every time I looked at her, I remembered the girl in the woods, 16 years old, cold, hungry, the girl I thought I had saved. But the truth was different. One night, everything changed. There was an explosion in a government building, not a military base, a public building. Civilians were inside, workers, families, people trying to rebuild their lives after the war. Several of them died. Many more were wounded. When I heard the details, something inside me broke, because I recognized the method, the same underground network,
the same people Anna had once worked with, and suddenly I understood something I had been avoiding. She had never stopped. While I was protecting her, others were still getting hurt. That night, I sat alone for a long time, thinking about the 5 men from my unit, thinking about the people who had just died, and thinking about the girl I had trusted. The next morning, I went to my commanding officer, and I told him everything. 2 weeks later, Anna was arrested. I never saw her again after that. I returned to America soon after. I got married, had children, built a quiet life. From the outside, everything looked normal, but some memories never leave. Sometimes I still think about the forest in 1945, the girl sitting beside the broken fence, the moment I gave her that piece of bread. I thought I was saving someone, but the truth is, that moment changed everything, and I've spent the rest of my life wondering how many lives that one decision really cost.